Right, as the World Health Organization continues its push to finalize a worldwide pandemic treaty that would strip nations of their sovereignty, we're rapidly approaching the day when the Biden administration plans to agree to these measures. Now, earlier today, congressional leaders and others spearheaded a press conference to highlight the many concerns surrounding the World Health Organization's efforts. And they announced the launch of an emergency campaign to prevent this betrayal of national sovereignty from moving forward. Joining me now to discuss this is the primary organizer, Congressman Ralph Norman, who was there this morning. He serves on the House Rules Committee, the Budget Committee, and the Committee on Financial Services. He represents the 5th Congressional District of South Carolina. Congressman Norman, welcome back to Washington Watch.
Glad to be with you, Tony. Appreciate you coming today to the press conference.
Well, it was good to be there. I appreciate your leadership. This is a very important issue. People don't realize what is at stake here. So let's talk about your concerns and what this treaty, being called a protocol so they can circumvent Senate ratification, what it would do.
Tony, what they're trying to do is rush through a treaty that very few people know anything about. The fact that they're doing amendments that should have been submitted 4 months ago, that is just doing it in secret. And it's like everything else the Biden administration does, it's in secret. And it's got long-term consequences for America, namely committing us to put 5% of our expenditures of money that we do not have into a fund that basically supports the China initiative of total dominance over the world. And it's primarily China and other countries too. But as we saw during the COVID so-called crisis, it was a man-made crisis by China. And to further embolden them is something we have got to stop. But the bottom line, the meeting in Geneva of unelected bureaucrats comes up in May 27th, I think, where they'll start the discussion on America joining and taking the lead, both financially and being under the dominance of this world organization. And Bill Gates supports this effort as well as many others. And we just have to stop it and voice our opinion.
I mean, this is unprecedented in the power that they grab, but they will be able to impose on all member states this protocol, which, as you mentioned, not only forces member states to fund it, but it also restricts their abilities. If they declare emergency, and that's up to WHO, whatever it might be, then you have to follow this set of protocols, some of which include actually suppression of speech. This is pretty frightening when we look at what you made reference to, the COVID, what we went through in our own country with the Biden administration clamping down on social media posts. This would be the required response under this protocol.
Well, it's an overreach of government. And we saw during the COVID pandemic, they're shutting businesses down, shutting churches down. They didn't shut gambling halls down. They didn't shut Las Vegas down. They shut down basically what made this country great, which is the small businesses all across America that pay the taxes, that employ the many people we have. What's going on, Tony? It's evil. I don't know any other word to describe in America what's going on, and with the World Health Organization, to even think about this, to commit this country. We're working to I'm telling everybody, call your senator. We're trying to make sure that this is a treaty and make sure that it goes through the Senate. It has to get a 2/3 vote, and they have to advise and consent on anything. Now, I don't have much confidence in the Senate, particularly with some of the things they've done recently. But be that as it may, we cannot let them, just by unanimous consent, put us in a treaty that we can't get out of and that the Senate doesn't have to review.
Was there anything during COVID that WHO actually did that was helpful?
No, they heard. I mean, they wouldn't. They should have been on the front lines of finding out where this virus came from. The Wuhan lab was not, I mean, it was real, but this wasn't spread by a bat. This was biological warfare. And the government was a part of it, unfortunately. Tedros was the leader, and you ask anybody that has dealt with him, he's under the control of China. Now, is that who we want to submit to? Is
Right.
that who we want our intellectual properties to go to? I don't think so.
All right. Wow. Congressman Ralph Norman, I want to thank you for joining us. Thanks for taking the lead on this. We're going to encourage people to call the Senate, their senators, and encourage them to speak out to make sure the Biden administration brings this to them for confirmation, or at least to give them the vote so they can vote against it. But right now, the Biden administration wants to circumvent the Senate. Congressman, great to see you. And again, thanks for leading the effort this morning.
Yes, sir. Thank you.